Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the reigning world champion, the Frenchman from Team Liquid, the Terran in the red. It's Clem, facing off against the recent GSL champion and the best Protoss player in the world. It's herO. In a best of 9, Protoss versus Terran Grand Finals. The rank 1 Terran versus the rank 1 Protoss, facing off for the lion's share of $10,000 in the Pigfest 6 Grand Finals. So before we get started, it'd be awesome if you could smash that like button, go check out and subscribe to Pig, and maybe subscribe here as well. Help me count the algorithm. Jimmy, what are we at? 1,646 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And I certainly hope it's about to get just a little bit better. As Clem comes in, ready to play Ring Around the Nexus with the first Adept, which will get all up close and personal, try to chase it down, but lacking a jetpack isn't able to keep up for now. Direct confrontation, obviously not the Terran strong suit in any sense of the word, but very good at avoiding it in clever and creative ways, and maybe do a bit of light harassment. Meanwhile, Twilight Council on the way for herO. Very likely Blink. In fact, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if we see 9 Blink builds in a row. But don't worry, you won't miss it. As herO, unlike the other top Protoss players, Max Pax and Clem, his Blink Stalkers and his Micro are chaotic, alright? They can be the absolute best by far. It's his lack of hesitation that carries him sometimes further than maybe he should be able to get. But sometimes it's also what keeps him from getting as far as he could. And while you're debating that sort of profound yet vague statement, notice that Clem is opting for just a bit of early harassment. We've got 6 Marines and a Widowmine to start things off. A conservative-ish build. The fact that he expanded it all, he didn't put 2 barracks on the other side of the map. He's not starting with some gasless tank push, like seems to be the flavor of the month, kind of every other month against Protoss. Kind of what Cure did against herO in the GSL Grand Finals, because who wants to play a macro game? Full stop, but also against herO. We'll see. Clem, the Spylon will see this Blink not quite done, which means the Marines and mine should be able to outmaneuver the Stalkers for now. Boosts again, takes a few hits as the Stalker's stuck on the low ground. The Reaper joins up, everybody jumping into the main base, and now the Widowmine be burrowed down first. The Adept will be sacrificed. Blood for the Blood Gods. And Marines, well, the Marines will be left behind. 5 probes dead. They'll expect some of us in the wreckage, brothers. Well, the sum of us, sorry. And every Marine and mine dies. I mean, just the one, but kills 5 probes, confirms Blink Stalkers. He gets the medevac out. If he loses the medevac in that drop, I think herO comes out decisively ahead. Losing 5 probes is pretty painful. Did he lose? Well, he lost the Adept, but no Stalkers. And oh, wait a second, the Stalkers are stalking. And the medevac, a little lazy on its way back to the base. He'll hunt it down and knock it out of the sky with home in sight. Ooh, a hardcore move out of herO. And like I was saying, suddenly, I think he takes the advantage. A Raven looking to take it back. You know, Timmy, get over here and sit on the shield battery. A shield battery placed in position to both protect the front and the mineral line. It's just a little annoying to do so. The Raven will go tuck into the corner as herO lines up for a Blink timing. Adept in the Prism, maybe tank a tank shot, drops it out, eats a hit, blinks up to the top, knocks out tank number 1, backs off from the second. A couple more hits come through, but another Adept sacrifice for the greater good. As now herO is taking up residence in Clem's main, the boys are pulled off the line. It's the workers who are always at the front and will suffer greatest as the Stalkers continually moving their way around the mineral line. Looks like the Raven came back in for another auto turret. Picked off a few probes, but far more SCVs. The boys pre-pulled to box out this army, but he just slurps up the Stalkers over the top, Viking back in the air. And we'll try to snipe off the Prism, but with the Stalkers underneath, Obviously, the anti-air is there. Almost picks off another SCV. 11 dead so far. The Stalkers. Oh, gets all of them. And herO ransacking the main base, and he gets out with many of his Stalkers. The detectors. The Observer spots the Raven, spots the Observer. And while they're busy pointing at each other, oh, here the Blink Stalkers. Nevermore. Takes down the Raven. You got Edgar Allan Poe'd. Jimmy edited that out. Templar Archives on the way. Would you believe me if I said I thought of that in the shot? Get out of here, factory! Clem taking out his frustration on the factory, which didn't pump out siege tanks fast enough, though it's not its fault. herO with the decisive timing, and Clem choosing a less than aggressive build early allowed herO to come across and keep the pressure on, and now standing outside his front door. Bunch of Blink Stalkers, some soon-to-be charged lots, the Warp Prism still in place, the Observer taken down, but with a third base on the way, Storm in production, and Immortals being pumped out. herO might not have the supply at the moment, but he has the advantage in every other way. He has the economy, he has the tech, and he has the standing army that can challenge Clem the moment he moves out. So, Clem is not in a desperate scenario. Make no mistake, the amount of damage that a bunch of dudes with drugs and guns can get done, especially when enabled by the medevacs. But with Storm completing and no sign of ghosts anytime in the near or even semi-distant future, there's a very good chance herO can just sweep away this first push. Storm finishing before Stimpack, which is quite a feat. The Observer's still overhead. herO knows the map is dark and full of Terrans. He sees the army moving out, now going to move in with the charge lots themselves. Clem committing a lot to this, well, pretty much everything to this push, has very little back at home to defend. And now is halfway across the map. The Observer is following the army directly. The Templar and the Prism! And cataclysmic storms! He even kills his own Observer. But many of the Marines and Marauders are wiped out. Actually, just Marines. Marauders are able to weather it, but all these units damaged. Trying to eat some of the mine hits. Even one stub toe away from death. Oh no, the Prism! herO and Warp Prisms have a tough working relationship. herO works with the Prisms. The Prisms work their way into the unit's loss tab on a frequent basis, but it survives for now, and herO chasing it down snipes off a tank. Really? There? herO. herO has never found an advantage he hasn't been able to maneuver his way out of. That's that Warp Prism ripe for the picking. And Clem, I think, hesitated for a second because he thought it was bait. Like, are you really warping in with a 4 HP Warp Prism slightly out of Marine range? And the answer is yes. Okay, there was no twist, no kicker. The answer was simply yes. So, Clem gets a little bit more breathing room. And herO's forced to recall back. Gonna get supply blocked as his Spylon gets taken down. Recalls Immortals and Templar. Clem picks up, backs off. 72 to 54 workers. herO still with an advantage across the board. Just less decisively so. Especially as Clem seems willing to progress. He's got the Ghosts on the way. Did he get a second starport? No, not yet. No armory either, so no higher tier of upgrades. But units are so dangerous to each other in this matchup. Sometimes we don't even see that next tier of upgrades. Like, the breakpoints are so far out that getting a +1 attack isn't nearly as important as getting a few more units. 2 Colossi simultaneously. The Templar not gliding as fast. You'd think the capes would help, but they kind of get in the way. Observer spots all this. 162 apiece. herO with that 4th base done. Double medevac production. Observer knocked out. And the medevac units are the most important force multipliers here. Alright, having enough medevacs to comfortably continue building Vikings without feeling like you're risking your army If herO is able to pick off any of them, it sets him back dramatically, but Clem is keeping him alive quite well. Another storm comes through, a single ghost with the army. Does he have energy recharge? No, he already used it. Huge charge lock counter. A massive risk in this sort of scenario. A lot of his army supply committed to the charge lots on the other side. And slicing up 9 SCVs. Eviscerates a ghost. Widow mines are brought out and will obliterate some of the zealots, but still enough left over. Colossi over the top. Thermal lance not yet fully extended, though mine is getting a little bit closer. Meanwhile, the Templar laying down the storms across the front line. The medevacs still have energy for now. A 1 HP Colossus tumbles, and herO is down in supply. The army coming back, the charge lots that survived, looking to flank the tanks. Clem lost a bunch of SCVs, but herO's going to lose this Nexus. And Clem unsieged the tanks at the least opportune time. The medevacs are now out of energy. The Stalkers will have Blink in a moment. Chase down, get another ghost. And I think despite his best efforts, and because of them, herO comes out ahead. He has an alternative 4th base underneath the main. He has double Colossus production. He's working on +2/+1. He's going to have it a lot quicker compared to Clem, who did get his armory, who did start his upgrades, but it feels like more begrudgingly than anything else. The medevacs are intercepted in the sky. Oh no, it's a disaster. And it goes from bad to much, much worse for Clem. He loses all but 1 medevac and a couple marauders. And decides that's enough to type 2 Gs. Yes, it's bad. Was it over? Likely. And Clem never wanted to draw it out, for better or worse. Game number 1 to herO, with some dramatic plays, decisive blank timing, decisive warp-ins, maybe too decisive. But herO's fast and loose style of Protoss, his Forrest Gumpian philosophy, is able to carry him through and keep Clem so busy that he could never really set up that game-ending attack that Terrans always want to have. We'll see if Clem sticks to his guns, or if he gets even more aggressive. So, the Pig Festival, number 6, features a lot of unique and interesting community maps that these players have been playing throughout. And I do want to thank Pig for actually showing us maps that aren't a reskin of the same 2 maps over and over. But this is probably our most creative one. Going into Kill Switch, where there's mineral fields, slow zones, I don't know if there are speed zones, even more mineral fields, destructible rock towers. We'll see how much they watchtowers rock. See how much Clem wants to put the eye in Terran and take advantage of terrain. And how got your little Reaper indicators and even a nice royal looking color scheme. We got the purple and gold. And thus ends my nature documentary. Ah yes, some beautiful radioactive waste dotting the field. A typical feature of Terran establishments. Much like the comment section, known to cause cancer in many individuals. herO. Game 1 keeps Clem busy and knocks him out. A few moments that could have easily gone the other way. But that's herO in a nutshell. You know what they say. Protoss builds are like a box of chocolates. You can't really eat any of them, but you can think about it longingly. While we're pondering that nonsensical statement, we'll see if herO tries anything but Blink. We'll tie that into the Blink Stalkers are just so good. Clem showing how good they can be against Terran as well. I believe Clem played almost as much Protoss as he played Terran in this tournament to get this far. For those who don't know, who've been living under a rock or a rock tower for a while, Clem now no longer plays mirror matchups. He's our first player to pretty much officially play 2 races. He plays Terran against Protoss and Zerg, and Protoss against Terran. And he backs it up. He's beaten pretty much every top Terran besides himself. Which, 1, I don't think we need to show that, and 2, we don't have the technology. So whichever direction you want to go with that. But not really relevant here. The point being, he knows this matchup better than anyone in the world. Now, that doesn't necessarily help you against herO. In fact, I think it backfires sometimes because Clem's like, why are you here? What are you doing? And that is sometimes what ends up giving herO the edge. His willingness to not think about what he's doing. Clem clearly getting surprised, like getting those medevacs sniped off last game. In multiple situations. Like, why are you there? Why would you do that? Well, it's too late now. Ponder that while we load up the next game. Blink it is. The Reaper wall, quite... Hey, you saw the Twilight, obviously, yeah. Plenty of space there. The slow zones, the bubulas, and the rock tower down the center. I'm not sure what that rock tower drops onto. Maybe it destroys the slow zones, but also block. We'll see. I have my suspicions of whether or not we'll get that far to really explore all the features of the terrain. Honestly, kind of surprised we saw 4 bases in game number 1, but if there were 2 players to play a more drawn out sort of for better or worse. Again, it's like Clem doesn't want to all in herO because he feels more confident in a longer macro game. He thinks, I'm quite confident Clem thinks his macro is better than herO's. I also think Clem's macro is better than herO's in the sense of being able to reliably put units on the field and get damage done. But he's such a wild card. Two more racks on the way. Seems like both players, well, especially herO, just kind of chilling in their corner. Clem, yep, those are rocks. Building up to 3 racks, factory starport. Got the Raven back at home. Maybe thinking there's a small chance of a DTs early. But also just knocking out the initial... Knocking out the initial observers is a worthy goal. He's actually hunting for it. Wow. I am reasonably sure he saw it with the Reaper Hellion. It passed right overhead. And he intercepts it with the Raven and the Marines. Stalkers. Oh, stop right there, criminal scum. The sentence for trespassing is death. Okay, Bartholomew. Blocks in the Hellion. The Stalkers hunting down. Find the Reaper as well. They'll remove the scouts, but the marauding bands of Stalkers. Triple threat on the way. Stim, combat, shield, +1 all coming together. Clem will have a very dangerous army. herO not rushing for splash damage, instead just building up to a 3rd charge. +1. It's going to be gateway-based defense and offense. In fact, that's the extent. No Templar archives, no robotics bay. Third command center starts for Clem, but only after he has all this infrastructure up. Not going to 5 racks before the 3rd, so not effectively all in, but... Raven sneaking out. Ah, the detectors want revenge! Then the Raven hides in the corner because it doesn't want to get stalked again. Which, you know, fair. Wow, there's a lot of airspace back there. Or just space. Yeah. Ponder that. Raven into the main. Shield battery, not quite done yet. A few more probes taken down. The double medevac drop will be taking the scenic route all the way around. The very not willing to get things picked off again. He doesn't know exactly where, if any observers are out there, but he's not taking the risk, and there's a lot of space to maneuver. Clem, Up 10 or so supply. Templar Archives just started for herO. So, finally, after no rush 7 minutes, give or take. Clem slightly violating the non-aggression pact, but that's a typical Terran move. Ooh, siege tanks around the corner. Big hit on the stalkers will force him back immediately. No concussive shells to track him down, but the double drop is headed for the natural. Meanwhile, a warp prism in the main. The charge lots. Here we go again. Already spiraling into something of a base trade as Clem's main base getting ransacked. The stalkers driven back. The add-on's gutted. A Widowvine hits the warp prism. It does survive just barely. Meanwhile, the third base is abandoned. Who's locked in here with who? Widowmine's taken out. Third Nexus taken down. Stalkers able to take out the Medivacs and the natural. The probes are now refugees. Very lower accurate. Meanwhile, the charge lots, unable to comprehend this door-based technology, will try to chop it down while getting gunned down from the other side, which seems inefficient to say the least. They will... Well, the depot actually gets repaired by an entire convention center of SCVs. Meanwhile, the tanks and the Medivacs, the warp prism, why are you here? Oh no. Prism escapes for now. The rest of the army on the ground. Siege tanks on the high ground. The Vecti managed to evacuate them. Charge lots being warped in from the north. herO down in supply, and he lost the third Nexus. He has to get damage done before Clem is really able to reestablish. And he does do so. The siege tank's in position. The warp prism. herO. Emotional support field saves the zealot. That warp prism is the lifeline here. He needs to be able to bring units in. Unfortunately, there's a mineral wall in the way. He could take down the rock tower and then take down the destructible rocks, I guess, but... herO coming in, charging forward. The prism! The force fields on top of the tank. But there's enough Marines and Marauders. They're holding their ground. Down goes the prism. No reinforcements for herO. The boys are pulled off the line. And the Stalkers and Immortals bashing through. 11 more SCVs dead. The supplies are evened up. And, well... both players suffering terrible, terrible damage. But Clem still has 3 command centers. He still has Medivacs overhead. He scans before herO even rebuilds his third Nexus. And he knows he's in a pretty comfortable spot going forward. This is a precarious position for herO. He's got the units to blindside Clem. Clem has nothing out here seeing if this is coming. There's not... the Medivacs are nearly out of energy. There's only 3 of them. Warps in another round of Zealots. Clearly there's more units out there. Every stim is precious. Takes out the Observer. There's half a dozen Widowmines underneath. Gonna try to drag them out. Blinks away from a couple, using the bunker as just a terrain blocker. The SCVs are pulled yet again. Takes out a couple mines. Prism herO. You need to keep that prism alive. The Archon's coming up, looking to warp in another round. He does so. The Archon's taking a lot of damage. Clem can't get close. It'll cost him his Marines. He pops into the bunker as well. And the prism! Oh, it gets targeted by the Marines in the bunker! And he loses the Archons! It's a disaster for herO! A compounding one as the sentries get hit on the way out. He just needed... I think he was trying to save... he was trying to juggle his Archons, but he neglected to factor in that the Marines were in the bunker and they could just shoot the prism. What are the sentries doing? They get recalled out. But herO, once again, finds himself in a good position, and then just as quickly finds himself out of it. Clem almost... it feels like Clem is getting almost surprised by the warp prisms. Like, is that somehow fate? Is there something? Is there Templar with Storm? No. How many have died? 2. But herO has reestablished his third. I'm gonna juggle against a mine. Main base. Liberator. Added in just to complicate things. The Medivac's almost entirely out of energy. Yet again. Seems like a constant fact as herO keeps the pressure on. Ghosts on the way. Well, one ghost. Liberator finds another angle. Clem's up 25 supply. 35? And the War Prism with the Dubula. Or Bubula, rather. Dubula is a speed zone, obviously. Everybody knows that. Flies into the main. The charge lots. Actually, all saved. And well, a single probe out here. The Prism. Oh, herO. Well. The Prism dies, and with it the last anchor holding Clem back. There's Storm on the way. The ghosts are already blinking down the rocks as the Widowmines patiently wait for their opportunity to ransack whatever's up there. Storm is completed, but +2 ground weapons. Clem has a 2-upgrade advantage. A very good Storm to open things up. But very good is not good enough. The Bioball Tide is coming in. Dodges out of Widowmine, but Clem realizes he can divide and conquer. A massive drop in the main. Brings in a Templar. Down goes another Prism. The Templar gets pre-MP'd. A Widowmine's hitting both sides, but tie goes to the leader. 166 to 86 supply as herO washes another set of storms over the top, but it's all over but the G's. A typical herO move to fight to the bitter end. But I don't think there's any coming out of this one. Energy recharge, wiped out by EMP. Another storm wades through it. Charge lots, probes on the run. But it's not going to be enough. Clem taking the advantages herO hands him and manages to carve out some of his own. And in another topsy-turvy game, another roller coaster experience, Clem turns it around. And the Terran Empire strikes back. herO giveth and herO taketh away. Somehow herO makes every game about him. Okay. I guess he is the hero of this story. And whatever other puns you'd like to throw in here and credit to me, but if just one of those Warp Prisms lived a minute longer, maybe not the last one, but if one of the 3 Warp Prisms lived a minute longer, maybe 2 more Warpins, maybe that's what's needed to break Clem in any of those positions. But instead, disaster. It's one of those, when things are going bad, when it rains, it pours. Unfortunately, that doesn't count as Storm. If you feel behind, you take risks, you lose more stuff, you take more risks, and it just starts spiraling out of control. So, well, thankfully, things will dry up a bit. And hopefully you don't mind sand. Because we're going in the sand one. Game 3. The Equalizer. These two pretty evenly matched in such different ways. It's kind of rare. I mean, Dark and herO. The greatest frenemies. 2 of the oldest players. Dark recently went to his obligatory military service. herO's better half, arguably. I'm sure Dark would argue it. herO might give him that because he seems like a nice guy. But 2 players who, through sheer force of will, able to win games. Just a killer instinct that is less visible in a lot of the younger, more mechanically talented players. Now, how much of it is compensating for a lack of mechanical skill, that sort of killer instinct? All right. There are pro poker players, I assume, who are older than 35. I'm reasonably sure. I'm pretty sure many of those on the World Tour they have could qualify for an AARP card, though probably don't need to. That's retired person's thing for non-Americans, by the way. For those who actually are going to retire, which, you know, good to have dreams. Like and subscribe. What was I saying, though? Stargate. A bold move. Maybe even underlined as well. Throw an italicize in there. Just to make it even more tacky. Huh. An interesting map for it as well. No, like, special features or... In fact, it's one of the shorter rush distances. And we see so many early pushes. Kind of a... almost counter-meta move to go for the Stargate. The reason you rarely see the Stargate is because it's high risk and maybe medium reward. There's so many. Unlike in Protoss versus Zerg. I don't know, I vaguely remember talking about it, but unlike in Protoss versus Zerg, where the anti-air consists of a swarm of knitting needles, almost every Terran unit in the early game has a chance of outright destroying a Stargate build. Marines, Cyclones, Widowmines, Vikings, Ravens. Alright. And SCVs in general are less vulnerable as well. Take 3 hits to kill for an Oracle. But it also gives you map control that Blink Stalkers can't match. Assuming you're able to keep them busy. So, Oracle first. Neither player... Did Clem even go for a Reaper? He did not. So, a Stasis right off the bat. Both players just kind of building up. A marked difference from herO's recent, like, GSL games, and also Clem versus Max Packs and that level of aggression. Phoenix is on the way. A single Phoenix and now a Twilight Council is herO shifting into the more ground-based army. Oracle, I think waiting, well, takes the long way around in order to make sure it's not spotted. Clem spotting, looking for third bases right now. Oracle just waiting to see Clem commit. But Clem is looking for the thirds, or he's going around looking for the potential third nexus. herO. Here. I'm not saying he's a gold digger, but he certainly is not shying away from the idea, as he's carving through the rocks that block mining instead of the base itself. Clem sees there's no third nexus and is anticipating probably like a big blink all-in. There's nothing here indicating he thinks it's a Stargate. Everything indicates he thinks Blink Stalkers or even charge lots are on the way. herO has not sent in the Oracle at all. There's a probe outside the front. Neither of them see each other, but the probe will be able to spot an army moving out. Clem spots the third nexus with the Marine on the high ground. herO does not know that Clem knows about that third nexus. At least I'm 80% sure. I'm not 100% because... No, there's no way he had vision. He didn't fire anything. The Oracle will spot the Marine going back. Did the Marine spot the Oracle? Unclear. He might not even think it's real. Like, because nothing has attacked it. He hasn't, like... Why would it be real? How can oracles be real if our eyes aren't real? You're hallucinating again, Neo. There is no oracle. Well, at this point, it feels like there isn't, as herO just didn't use it, which... He's got the stasis out there. He's working on... Is that charge for... No, he's got blink done. And the gold base is mining. Another tense, yet this time somewhat confusing buildup. I'll be honest. I like to pride myself on having a convincing sounding analysis of the game that is sometimes accurate. But here, herO just... Well, he spotted the army moving out. Clem blindsided by the Oracle. Clearly, he's scrambling back to defend. He brings back the Cyclone in the medevac. Slaps a Revelation. 4 SCVs dead. And scans the moment the lock breaks. I'm a bit flustered. But here comes the army. Stim and combat shield coming together. They got to go through the sand spires. Picks off one of the medevacs. And the tanks can't easily move through here. But do they need to? Does he have any idea about the stasis? Backs off. Stasis catches a third of the Marines. Is that enough? There's 3 tanks, a couple mines underneath. Oracle comes back in for more. Turret not quite done yet. But the force fields, I'm not sure who's locked in here with who. The Marines and Marauders with +1 just grinding through. Charge not done. There's not enough units to defend. herO running out. Like, the Oracle has just been unchecked in the main. But Clem mostly unchecked at the front. I think quite a stark demonstration of why going for Stargate sometimes can just set you so far behind that Clem just rolls right through him, tearing apart the gold base and everything in front. He was going to try a different third, but he's already down 40 supply. This match looking more one-sided than a Mobius strip right now as herO getting his stalkers obliterated, wanders into tank range yet again. He just doesn't have the boots on the ground. Guardian shield helpful, but not nearly as helpful as it needs to be. If he reduced 100% of the damage, it would still be arguable. As opposed to just 2 apiece. Well, coming in for another round. But the critical mass is not there. The siege tank's helping out a lot. The bio ball rolling through. Eight more herO fighting again to the very end. The probes are pulled off the line. Well, they were pulled off the line a while ago, and they're just looking to die now. As Clem gonna be taking 2 in a row. And the lead in the series. With 2 decisive matches back-to-back. Clem just rolling through him. Decisive victory. herO, not sure. He was expecting Clem to commit to the early aggression. The Oracle darts in, 3-4 minutes, kills some SCVs. That's meaningful. The Oracle killing 5 SCVs when Clem already has 80 army supply coming across the map. That's less meaningful. And herO did not have the ground army nor splash damage in time to deal with the... And that is why I questioned the Stargate choice on Sandworm, because you're just a hop, skip, and a tank leapfrog away from getting attacked immediately. The rush distance is, even if you have a stasis, not long, all right? Nosy neighbors, the Terrans are. So, herO, he tried it, didn't work. I don't think that'll determine the past or the future. Yes, we're speaking of all 3 because we're doing some weird time travel bit. Moving torches. Wow. Punch myself in the mouth. Hey. Clem, you disgusting, disgusting Terran. Proxy Marauder. Wait. Yeah? Yeah. Here we go. Clem actually showed us how to defend against this build when he played against Beyond the other day. You can see that video. You can, I'll wait. You can pause. Go watch it. And if you want to know how to do it, Clem will show you. It's game number 1. You don't have to watch the whole thing. And welcome back. And now you saw how Clem defended it. We'll see if herO will take notes from his sometimes Protoss counterpart on the other side. The answer for Clem was scouting early with an SCV, with a probe. Sorry, I'm getting all turned around now. It's a bit confusing. And then just abandoning the idea of having a Nexus. You cannot afford to expand against this. You will die, almost certainly. You have a much better chance of just crushing it if you focus on the high ground first. Unfortunately for herO, the map is dark and full of Terrans. Though he doesn't know how true that statement is, he's thinking about an expansion. Drops down the Nexus. Probe will scout. Will he see it? He's looking at the 3rd. He may see it. Oh no. The SCV. And is it bunker time? SCV comes up. Clem's selling it like a normal timing. herO Chrono Boost probes. Oh no. Oh. Masterfully baited. It's a disaster. And herO doesn't know it yet. Oh no. I don't know how you defend that. Like, he's gonna have one stalker against 3 Marauders. That's it. Even for herO, I think you just tap out. Oh my. Clem, ready to put him down. The sentry. The Nexus can be canceled. It is. The pylon will be taken down. herO's supply block before he can start another unit. The sentry needs an energy recharge. He gets it. Force fielding in 1 Marauder. Okay. So, herO cuts his losses. He reacts in time. There's enough force field energy. If he lost... No. No. You can... No. You cannot go down there. You live here now. Clem is now expanding. Hallucinated Phoenix. Headed across the map. herO cancels. He knows that Clem won't go up the ramp. Well, the Barracks Lord! Much both faster and hardier than its Overlord counterpart, the Barracks Lord. Casually strolls through the entire base with a full scout. herO pulling far away from the ramp itself, but Clem not going to try to gamble on that. Clem obviously anticipating some sort of Warp Prism play. The Marauders will head back across the map. Surprised there's not a bunker on the low ground as well, but... Viking in production. The command center will finish just in time, and... You know? Huh. Huh. It's another one of those where I feel like I should say something, but I have to... The wheels are turning slowly. But... Hallucinated Immortal. I like it. Alright, trying to sell it. If you don't... If you can't make it, you fake it. 2 Immortals is a deadly number. 1 Immortal... Oh, don't go into the scan! He hallucinates a Colossus for high ground vision, so that... No longer gonna sell it. I do like that idea, but that siege tank... So he denies the expansion, and this actually becoming one of the more interesting games. herO, if he had lost his Stalker, he lost the game. Like, that's it. The game over, man. But he didn't. So now we have this sort of tug of war, where herO has enough army to be dangerous to Clem if he comes down the ramp. But, ooh, the Observer spotted the medevac. He has 4 Marauders in there. There's enough energy for recall. He saw that, right? Yeah. A Dark Shrine on the way. 2 Nexi for herO. But the Marauders will drop out. And, oh no! A single pylon. Powering 3 of the entirety of the production is what it's powering. Not even in a risky position. He just slapped those down because he was panicking against the Marauders, but it's a big gap in production. That Dark Shrine, though. Juggling the Marauders. The concussive shells, of course, done. And Clem didn't get far enough in the base to... He did not get far enough into the base to get vision of the Dark Shrine. Wow. That was a struggle. The Shrine to Dark, though, always a strong choice. If Blink was done, that medevac's dead along with 4 Marauders, but a Warp Prism on the way. And Clem, he's just now building an engineering bay. Does he have his suspicions? Does he even know about the Twilight? No, but the Twilight's almost implied. Like, the Dark Templar could turn this match on its head. A scan! A scan used on the Observer! He has no... Why would you fly into the scan, herO? Why are you like this? Please, herO. Please don't do this. Why are you here? herO, wake up! Oh, my. This isn't really selling it, because I don't know what herO was looking at, but another scan used. The DT's warped in. He's gonna juggle it into the prism, it looks like. He's really selling like that prism is not a big factor. Well, this is gonna get very weird now. He drops in a Dark Templar, a second one at the natural, immediately slaps down the turrets. But Clem goes all the way back to defend. DTs everywhere. On top of the army, slicing up the SCVs in the main. Some of the turrets will complete, but the DTs back off before the detection is online. And suddenly, Clem now completely boxed in. He can't afford to use his scans or to use mules. herO has 3 bases. The Dark Templar, a seemingly obvious yet effective choice. He pulls him out for the first time in the series. And now, charge is done, +1 on the way. Archon merged. herO. There's a Viking! Why are you like this? Oh no. And the prism dies. Well, that's awkward. Do we have a prism death counter? Something like 6 or 7 prisms in 4 games so far. A couple of them probably unavoidable. More of them, more avoidable. Another scan. Those DTs, always a continuing threat. But once the army gets large enough, you gotta have something. The boys are pulled. And Clem is looking to end this right here. Right now. Right here. Right now. Hallucinates a Colossus with the Robo-Bay halfway done. Except the DT may draw out a scan for him anyways. Yeah, he waltzes into it. The tanks trying to hold the boys, tying up the army on the ramp. Pulls back. Is there a shield battery? No. There's a shield battery on the high ground that's reshielding the fake Colossus. Well, that's kind of a waste. Clem will lose some more production. Here, I mean, Clem loses some SCVs, but that was kind of intentional. Throws the bunker down. The Immortal's trying to blast through, but there was just too much in the way. Without splash damage to cut through, Clem chose his timing, and he hits it hard. The DT's almost turned it around, but Clem powers through and goes up 3 games to 1. herO. A tough situation. Did not falter. Recovered from the surprise of the initial attack. The Marauders. Very well. In fact, I'd say he almost entirely turned it around. Clem was still dangerous. The DT's carving out some more space, but not prioritizing the splash damage yet again gives Clem an opportunity to just rip through with an overwhelming number of Marines and Marauders. And puts him up. Well, not quite match point. I do love these best of 9 series. There's still at least a couple games to go. But herO's struggling. I'm going into ley lines. Jimmy. What do you mean it has to load? In this? It's 2025. Like and subscribe so I can get some competent help. No, I won't pay. That's to motivate me. Sorry. Ley lines game 5. 5. The top right. Team Liquid's Clem up 3 against herO in the bottom left with only 1. A much more well-played and well-traveled map. Almost every game except Sandworm has felt like herO could take it at some point or another. Maybe not most of those points, but he hasn't been able to capitalize. Clem has stayed the course. Yeah, he's varied the responses and the timings, but you know what he wants. Marines, Marauders, Medevacs, Mines, Mid-Tanks. Alright? The 5 M's of Terran. The timing you want to hit and how you do it is very much dependent on both what the Protoss does and if you're able to get any damage with your initial herO. The barn door has already unleashed the grenade-launching Terran units, herO. And checking if it's locked, it doesn't seem to... I mean, I guess he could do it again. There's nothing stopping Clem from doing another Proxy Rex Marauder. Just the fact that herO goes out and scouts for it now... He's a bit flustered. That's what I see. Alright, maybe I'm reading too much into it. And if herO knew how to read, he'd be very upset. Because I assume he'd be reading subtitles because... Hopefully his English isn't good enough to hear my comment. Moving on. Yes, I'm giving myself the benefit of the doubt that herO's watching the cast. Maybe taking some tips. Alright. So, herO. Control groups. Okay? They exist. And you can put your warp prism on. He uses them. Not religiously. He's no zealot about it. And speaking of... No. Factory it is. Gonna be the Stalker Sentry, the Bert and Ernie build, as I titled it, because one time that popped into my head, and it seemed fun. But the more defensive variation of the early Blink, where you just pretty much have a constant scout via hallucinated phoenixes. I'm always a fan of slightly delaying it and hallucinating an Oracle. That works a lot better against mid-masters players than it does against the World Champion, though. Especially the World Champion, who is technically the highest-ranked Protoss player in the world by MMR. Yes, apparently his Protoss account now has higher MMR at like 7,000 than both his Terran account and MaxPax and herO. Of course, that... Honestly, I feel like Clem is almost the ideal ladder player. He's just better than everyone. Okay, mechanically, his strength isn't necessarily that long strategical series like this one, but instead just being better every game all the time. Okay, it's almost, and I see the comments, like, sometimes it's just frustrating to watch because he makes Terran look broken, and then he switches to Protoss and he makes it look the same way for Protoss. And honestly, I think like at least a third of the reason he does so is so you can't talk shit like that anymore. YouTube comments, alright? If Clem had one hand tied behind his back and was being actively waterboarded, I still think he'd have a 50-50 chance against probably 99% of the people here, including me. So herO should get on that. Widowmine drop shut down before it could really start, as it was spotted by the hallucinated Phoenix and actually drew out one of the mines, but ends up taking some damage on the sentry as well. Spylon's coming together. Blink +1. herO with a much more long-winded blink timing. Couple mines loaded up into the medevac. But I'm not expecting this to be some sort of big early game pressure. Just keeping his options open. Well, as I say it, here we go. Looking very much like he wants to move out. Has enough Marines. There's no vision on either side of what's going on. They're both just basing their timings off the general knowledge. In fact, scouting probes are being sent out. herO has 8 stalkers and 3 sentries, which doesn't really feel like enough. There are 5 more gates on the way. A hallucinating Colossus, but a Raven will be like, I don't think so. He knows it's not real. Clem just backing off. Honestly, probably could have gotten something done there. But does he need to, is the question. He has Stim, Combat Shield, +1. On the way. The Blink Stalkers. The Raven manages to escape somehow. And will hide in the trees. Stay in the trees! Anchors a couple stalkers back. The rest will have a difficult time squeezing through any other choke points. And here comes the real push. George is finishing up. The tanks, though, jammed in, but herO jumps on him. Gets one of the Blink Stalkers before any shots are fired. And with Charge finishing, herO really wants to go before all of this comes together. He can't know Stim isn't done. There's a single Widow Mine down there, probably discouraging more of the potential Blink. Auto turrets. Is 2 auto turrets enough to kill a pylon in one go? Well, today you learned. herO's actually supply block. 4 pylons on the way. Clem does not have a 3rd command center with this, though. He's effectively all in. He's built barracks 4 and 5 before building a 3rd command center. He wants to just keep going and keep the pressure on. But herO has 4 bases. He's got 8 gates. He's building Archons. He's going to have 1-1, which will give him an upgrade advantage over Clem momentarily. Though this is a difficult army to dislodge. Using the tank as a force field. Drags the Widow Mines into the Bio army as well. Meanwhile, another force boxed out of the top left. herO eating a few big Widow Mine hits, a few of the probes getting stuck at the front. Reinforcements will be required. Clem retargeting the mines, unburrows in order to avoid firing until he gets something much more meaningful. And, well, here comes herO to oblige. Widow Mine's dealt with. Blunks over the top, knocks out one of the Metavacs. Clem in the main base as well, though. The probe's being gutted. Recalls back the Stalkers. Is there enough here? That's a bit dicey. The Archon will make the difference. Takes out a sentry. A lot of probes will be slaughtered, but the main army and the Metavacs as well will be knocked out of the sky. The Stalker's blinking back. He actually took out the Archon. But at the end of the day, herO holds and has a 20 supply lead. He kept all his bases. He somehow plummeted to a 9-worker lead after losing 13. He has 1-1 done for charge lots. And he has enough production to keep it up. And Clem, he has the same again and again and again. But he hasn't ground out enough of an advantage to keep the momentum. And in fact, he might not be keeping much at all. The Stalkers are chasing him down. The Blink is on cooldown for now. He's trying to pick a fight. But I think there's enough charge lots. He can just go right in the face of the Marauders. Takes out a couple more mines. Charge lots of eviscerating the front line. And there's not much left. Even a probe here as he likes to watch. Clem microing back. Widow Mine targeted on the Stalkers. Gets a huge amount of damage. But herO chasing him all the way back to his base. Of which there are only 2. GG! herO is back in it. 3-2. herO holds on to his economy. Clem commits to the all-in. And he doesn't land it. It looked a little dicey. herO with almost no units to defend. But the early sentry to constantly scout is almost like a mental victory sometimes. I've noticed Clem has a tendency to get a lot more aggressive against those sort of styles. I think trying to make up for the fact that The Protoss kind of just knows what you're doing all the time. How does it feel, Taylor? Well, 3-2. herO, one step closer as we go into our 3-player map. Last Fantasy. Clem at the northern position. herO over to the east. And no one in the southwest. Our only more than 2-player map in the pool. Also a beautiful map, if I do say so myself. And in a best of 9, you don't get any map vetoes. It's just down to the order. So, as there are currently 9 maps in the map pool. Clem, not finding any early damage, and herO, for once, staying a little restrained. He didn't build a single warp prism, I don't think, in that game. So he couldn't lose any warp prisms, is the important science fact there. Barracks is on the way. In his base, very important. We've seen players do the proxy Rex in the middle of the map. A classic Terran tactic, older than Clem himself. Considering in Brood War, to my understanding, proxying in the middle of the map on 4-player maps, or 3-player maps, is a time-honored tradition. A real strategy, say the Terrans. A cheesy, filthy, disgusting gamble, say everyone else. But who cares what they say? Even the Protoss don't have mouths, so... Nexus on the way. herO not scouting for the proxy Rags this time. Probably saying, like, if you're really going to do 2 Rags Marauder on Last Fantasy, we'll let it go. The rush distance is significantly longer, even with the speed zones in the center. Stargate. Reaper getting all up close and personal with that pylon. Adept poking around. And is the Stargate visible from the Reaper jump? No, because the Reaper can't jump at all. This wall is right up against it. He literally cannot get up there. You shall not pass, Reaper. Phoenix first. A split from the Oracle. Phoenixes definitely less of a commitment and can build up quicker. The Phoenixes can deny any attempts at early aggression completely, whereas the Oracle is more like a backstabbing scouting unit. Interestingly, Clem not even going for a Stargate. Well, that'd be difficult for him. As I doubt he's going to pick Protoss, or a starport either. Wow, actually, herO didn't scout the starting position. So he just scouted now with the Phoenix. He didn't know which direction the SCV or the Reaper came from. And only now, by process of elimination, we'll realize Clem's up to the north side. Starport's on the way, but Clem is clearly building up for a large timing here. He's got those 2 barracks early. Does he not even have... Hey. Take a seat. Wait, what? Whose tech lab is that? Whose tech lab is it anyways? Apparently the starports. herO is hiding his Phoenixes. He's going to have 5 Phoenixes just hanging out in the main. Again, he's keeping his powder dry when it comes to the Stargate build. Which, high risk, high reward here. It could be a game-winning move, for either side, what herO's doing right now. This is so risky. He's not even going out trying to get anything done. He is relying entirely on the Phoenix's blindsiding Clem so hard he gets an insurmountable advantage. Because of his army value, like 80% of it is in those Phoenixes right now. Are you gonna go? Like, is he just gonna keep building Phoenixes? Oh my. Oh, Roddy would be so excited. Stressing me out. I mean, Clem's also just sitting back at his base, but that's a tried and true strategy. Building up, getting stim, upgrades, combat shield. Still a bit of a ways out, but are you... If the Reaper spots them, there are air blockers kind of corralling all the units into the arena here, and herO will explore the edge of every single one of them. Oh my, is he gonna get stuck? Because technically if you go at too odd an angle... Well, surprise! He lifts up half the mineral line and knocks it down quickly. And without stim, the Marines can't do much about it. The Cyclone a little better. 8 SCVs dead. And now he's moving on to the natural. The Raven can't even get close. The Phoenixes will knock out of the sky 13 SCVs slaughtered. And not a single, no more than one Phoenix goes down. And meanwhile, charge and +1 armor on the way. He just lost another Phoenix on the way out. If he loses, if he goes down under like 4, well then Clem can just move out. But now he's bottled up in his base. There's Widow Mines on the way. The charge slots are going to be a big part of this. Whether or not he can completely overwhelm the ground army, Clem will have stim, combat shield, +1. As the Phoenixes do their very uncomfortable and motion sickness-inducing mating dance / patrol path. And that's how they build more Phoenixes. Don't let the Stargate lie to you. Alright, you know what they're doing in there. Chrono boosting, what the kids are calling it these days. Raven could easily get sliced out of the sky by the Phoenixes, but an anti-armor missile will soften him up even more for the Marines. Here comes Clem. Will he just dive on those mines? He's thinking about it, using the speed zones potentially. Looking to cut off the reinforcements, gets a couple of the mines. The boys are pulled. Knocks out one of the Phoenixes. +1 armor's about to complete. herO. Warping in more zealots. He only has 10 of them so far. Trying to cut off the reinforcements. Marines come back, knock out a couple Phoenixes. Raven lays down an auto turret. Is it gonna be enough? The boys on the front line. The probes will probably have to be pulled. Everything here. The charge lots. Guardian shield doesn't get much better. Anti-armor missile comes to the SCVs as well. Knocks down one of the tanks. Warps in another round of zealots. He didn't kill that pylon. The Widow Mines on top of the Marines! And oh no! It's a disaster for Clem! His own Widow Mine exploderating half the army. But the Terran army still seems like it might be too much. He recharges a battery and just enough Marines left over. And despite the damage done, it looks like Clem might have enough to power through. He has almost nothing left at home. A single Immortal comes out. A couple sentries as well. Force field to help. Widow Mines trundling up. An observer in production. A couple gateways taken down, and production is at a premium. Some more stalkers. The mules are holding it all together for Clem at the moment. Widow Mines will be taken out. The third base be taken down. herO, maybe. Widow Mine knocks out 3. Energy recharge can't be too far away, but he's chrono boosting his gateways for all they're worth. Clem, herO's so close to holding this. But the medevacs have energy. The mules are holding it together. The longer this goes on, the better it is for herO. But Clem is grinding through. The observer helping out. Meanwhile, the sentries forced to pull back. Immortal off to the side. Another zealot caught and killed. He's warping it more. The supplies are dead even. Immortal barrier triggered. Has to fall back. Trying not to dive on it. Charge lots out in front. Medevac's draining on energy. Knocks out the Observer. Energy recharge. Liberator. A decisive moment. Try to take down the Liberator, but gunning down the Stalkers one by one. The Stalkers take out the Liberator, but the Stalker's dead in turn. herO dropping so far in supply. The Medevac stealing about the same amount of units underneath. Concussive shell. Down goes the Immortal. The Widowmine knocks out the Zealot. And herO. It's just not quite enough. Clem takes out the last Zealot, makes the Immortal a liar at its name, and will go to match point 4-2. What a game. herO making so much happen with the Phoenixes, lifting up half of Clem's economy, and Clem took another half of it across the map. But it was enough. herO not quite able to pull together the defense in time. Another warp-in would have broken a half a warp-in, but it wasn't enough. Clem on match point, up 4-2, and this close to being the champion of the Pigsty Festival number 6. Wow, the closest game yet. The first game that really felt close as opposed to swinging back and forth and kind of ending up in the middle. I guess you could say it swung a lot, but quite a series. These two so evenly matched in such different ways. Oil and water here. And here's definitely the oil. Alright. Let's make no mistake. Unlike herO. Well, match point, Persephone. Big chunk of $10,000 on the line. Not that these players haven't fought for bigger pools before, but for a long time, Clem struggled with nerves in matches like this one, online and offline, but especially offline. But that was what, for several years, not many years, like 2-3 years before he finally won DreamHack Atlanta just a couple years ago. Everyone thought of Clem as one of the best players, but he just couldn't translate that ladder hero online tournament experience into a victory on a big stage. Now it seems he can translate it into victories on every stage. So, not crumbling. Despite how horribly that game started, Clem clearly recognized there's gonna be a timing. He just built 8, 9, 10 Phoenixes. He invested over 1,000 gas, several minutes of gas into these Phoenixes. And there's going to be a time before it truly pays off. I've already mined minerals with all those SCVs. Their job is done, arguably. So the probe hunted down. Well, trying to block the base as Clem has gone kind of crazy. A marked split from the level of aggression we usually see in TVP nowadays. I guess from everyone but Clem. Going 1 ranks expand almost every game, except for the proxy ranks. So, not relying on that early aggression. In fact, he's barely done any sort of real committed, like early drops, early aggression. herO, a firm believer in not abiding by any sort of convention. There's literally an indicator on the ideal place to put a pylon. More for Protoss versus Zerg, but he deliberately seems to ignore it there as well. And I think about 7% of it is just to anger me. And the other 93% is because he's actually blind from blinking too much. And 100% reason to remember the name. Thankfully, it's pretty easy. herO. Like the Roman Emperor. Twilight Council on the way. Starport. As the Reaper jukes the Adept. Comes around the other side and will heal up. herO looking to intercept with the Shade. Keeping it out of vision, potentially. I don't know if he's trying to intercept or just scout, but... Porque no los dos. Blank has begun, but still quite a ways out as the first medevac in production. Sneaking. Is that the no, it's a heli. All right. Another relatively chill, uncontentious start. As if no, it won't. This, well, welcome. Goodbye. Sir, we told you you couldn't do that. That's an illegal move. I never know. That never works for me. 9 out of 10 Terrans I see do it. That little Reaper jump over to the side. I think the simple geometry has to line up perfectly. And even then, it's like 50% luck. But somehow, he pops the Reaper in. Of course, herO anticipating it. Even his hallucinated Phoenixes make me dizzy. A single Widowmine drop. Not the existential threat it once was, but still not a lot of fun to deal with. Meanwhile, Barracks waiting for its turn with the tech lab. Very patient. Sir, you're literally hovering. The Widowmine. Is he gonna do the thing? Oh, and Clem counters. He counters. Oh, this is awkward. The healing shrine in clear effect here does not run out of energy. Just heals any unit, though it has an air blocker. Just potentially relevant. But apparently heals faster than an Adept can do damage. Fun fact. For the Hellion, I guess. Single Blink Stalker will let that medevac know that it's not wanted around these parts. More Stalkers in the main to make sure of it. And the triple threat on the way. It's going to be charge and +1 as the follow-up here. Hellion taken down will spot the Forge. But none of this going to come as a major surprise to Clem. 4 more gates finishing up rather quickly. Making sure he has that level of production, but Clem's going for a 3rd command center. So he isn't putting all his eggs in this particularly fragile basket. But instead, making sure he has options past the initial push. Thing is, herO will not have... What? Alright. I'm not saying he's a gold... But he did find a gold base. And he's going for it. The Raven spotted that one Stalker anticipating the Raven and will potentially keep his base alive because of it. If the Raven spots it, the bio comes down and just easily takes it out. I don't think there's any defending that gold base. It's a stretch goal right now. Casual Stalker. The entire bio army stimmed, it seems. That Stalker gonna get caught in the crossfire. A lot of stims. There's only 2 medevacs desperately hoping the Marines and Marauders would just stop for a second. But they won't. I guess he could use the healing shrine. As we've seen some players do to surprising... Well, not that surprisingly great effect. Clem is suspicious. Has he seen this before? I've never seen... The probe ends up with the kill. But Widowmine drop in the main, dealt with no losses, it seems. Yeah, no probes dead. As a cannon in the main mineral line. The healing shrine. Clem could get caught between a rock and a hard place, but the Widowmine splash damage over the top. The Raven is taken down with a single auto turret. And Clem takes a sip of the healing shrine, and herO's in a precarious position already. He may have the gold base, but he's barely mining from it. coming through a tiny choke point. His Zealots, well, the Stalkers could get into the healing shrine themselves. More force fields, but they kind of make it harder for the Zealots in general. herO continually warping in. It's not about how many units you lose, it's about how many you can replace them with. And herO really testing that theory. The Stalkers! Healing shrine! Oh no, is he just gonna fight? Well, I think he can just kill him. Alright. That force... What am I watching? You can get the medevacs, which the air blocker is preventing them from really being in position to help out. And herO holds. The gold base kicking in. The level of production is there. And herO manages to hold on to his full economy and keep his supply. And Clem, he might have a third, but herO's got the gold. 9 gates. Another forge is on the way. His first robotics facility, I was wondering. But just now getting a robo. Blinks back with the Stalkers yet again. Ooh, over to the side. Will need a hit. He is a conscientious objector to Protoss healing. Alright, he believes when you're permanently damaged, you should always be damaged. Okay. I also don't believe in doors. Or vaccines. +2. Nearly done, and the Blink Stalker's over the top. 4 probes dead to the Liberator. But Clem is getting chased all the way back. The sheer wave of charge lots. The Blink Stalkers. The Widowmine's targeted onto the Stalkers, doing terrible, terrible damage. Looks like the Liberator was taken out, but again, herO still, well, up until a few moments ago, had the economy. Clem still has enough supply to be competitive, but with the gold base and the double upgrades and the fact that, well, I guess Clem technically, whoop, ghost, sliced up and knocked out. The medevacs at the back. The boys are pulled off the line. Guardian Shield helping out so much. Widowmine's gonna work against Clem for the most part. Another wave of charge lots coming in. Slice up yet another ghost. And GG. herO is not done yet. Game number 7. Yeah, 7 goes to herO. Ooh, counting is hard. Well, herO just, it felt spontaneous, the gold base. I don't think he went into the game like, I'm getting the gold. But he saw it, he took it, and he worked with it. It looked like Clem would break through, but herO just willing to send more and more and more, no, and possibly too many, but more units into the fray. And Clem unable to withstand it. 4-3. We're going to game 8, which not something I say very often. Thank you for making it this far with me. It'd be awesome if you could like and subscribe. And if you haven't yet checked out Pig, Jimmy, the link in the description. Come on. But thank you again to Pig for putting on such an incredible tournament again and showing off the top players in these long-winded series, which I really love. Because you can clearly see them playing the full series here. herO taking full advantage of his more flexible style, and Clem, he'll bend, and occasionally he'll break, but still in the lead. Maybe we'll get it to game 9. Ooh. What a series. Not nearly as much like early aggression as I expected, considering TVP in the last couple months. But herO still the focal point of the game, almost every game. I think even including the Proxy Marauder. it still ended up being herO kind of dictating the pace of things. Clem just riding the wave and eventually either withstanding it or getting drowned by it. And that's what it feels like sometimes. herO just somehow has another wave of units coming up right the moment you feel like you have a second to breathe. That's when 10 more Blink Stalkers blink directly into Widow Mines, but still somehow come out ahead. Like, it feels, and we've seen Clem rage quit before, and it, maybe not rage quit, but definitely no GGs. There's definitely, Clem has said it in the past, gets a bit upset. Alright, it happens. And the way you lose to herO sometimes is upsetting. Like, why were your units there? What are you doing? How have I lost? It all happened so fast. Another game where what seemed like a pretty decent Clem advantage turns into a herO victory. But again, just Stargate. He has lost both Star games so far. Seems like crafting the Stargate seems... It's so hard to see it paying off. Like, he literally killed 15 SCVs and several units and kept his Phoenixes alive, and that still wasn't enough to carry herO through on Last Fantasy. Like, what is the ideal? What is the best case scenario for the Stargate, if not that? We'll see if we find it. Phoenixes first. Hellion just looking for a quick third. It's gonna be Widow Mines out of Clem, hiding them on that top side of the factory, obscuring them from view. He's played Minecraft before. Medevac is on the way. Ye old Widow Mine Marine drop. But through all the fire and fury, these two showing off that bleeding edge of StarCraft 2. Keeping it interesting and somehow getting better and better. herO, a lot more variation. The Phoenix mating dance will have to be interrupted, thus upsetting them, but he does manage to knock out the Widow Mine. He warps it at depths at point blank range. Trying to get as much damage as possible without actually... Whoa, he gets the medevac on the way out. And the Adepts chasing, making things more complicated, trying to dart in. Targeting the Phoenix. If he actually gets one, here comes the Hellion. Everybody piling in. This is more like it. At a level of early, even a probe. Got a taste for Terran blood. Stop right there. The Immortal probably could have handled it, but the Phoenixes are trying to fulfill their quota. And this time, herO has completely shifted. It's a mech Protoss rush. Phoenix, Colossus, Immortal. There's going to be precious few gateway units. He has 2 gates, a Stargate, and a Robo. He has completely absconded from the mass gateway style. This is actually the first time we're seeing a rush to Colossi in any real fashion. There's been Colossi. Actually, has there? No, there's I think game 1? Maybe a couple of them? But a surprisingly tiny amount of Colossi for their stature. Third command center's on the way. As Clem gets those 3 racks, factory, starport. So it's either a third command center or 2 more racks. Those are the split. Kind of determine where the game's gonna go. But the triple threat is on the way yet again. Stim, combat shield, +1 infantry weapons. But on the other side, a completely different set of upgrades. Extended thermal lance alongside Colossi and more Phoenixes. Just, oh, we can't show that. Ugh. Just trust me, there are more Phoenix. What? +1 herO with the entire tournament on the line is like carrier time. Not even. He's just going mass Phoenix. It's +1 air weapons and a second Stargate. Literally pure mech Protoss. Will we see the second star? Yes! Cannons on the way. So what is Clem thinking now? He knows what's happening. A second starport in production. It's already too far along, I think, to expect to get damage done with the army he has. He's going to push out. But with the zoning cannons and a fleet beacon in production. herO, go big or go home. His career in a nutshell. Clem spamming out the Vikings. Is there even a Twilight? No. The Zealots are just there to kind of shield. Ooh, losing multiple Phoenixes to this relatively paltry force. Doesn't even get the medevac. Eh. I don't think that's accurate. Wait. Ah. 2 Phoenixes. Losing a critical mass is... You do want to knock out whatever you can from Clem, but feels like the Phoenix count is a very important part of this. Ghost Academy's on the way, Vikings. An entirely new style here. We've seen it from herO before, but... Those Phoenixes. Hallucinated Phoenix coming across. He'll spot the double starport. He knows that Clem is fighting him directly. Twilight Council's on the way. Oh, you can't. Can you? Loses 1, 2. Losing 2 Phoenixes to take out a medevac drop each time doesn't feel very sustainable. Oh. The Vikings overhead. A Scandinavia of them here. He's got 14 Vikings to 10 Phoenixes. +1 air weapons is done, but the Vikings in a straight-up fight win the trade and with Marines underneath. Hallucinates a Colossus. The Vikings are just winning. And if the Phoenixes are taken down, the Colossi have nothing left to protect them. Phoenix range is on the way, but herO, he cannot fight. He will lose. This isn't a fight, it's a massacre. The Colossi are just taken down immediately, knocked out of the sky by the Vikings. Bit of a design flaw. And the Phoenix count has already dwindled so dramatically. I don't see him ever rebuilding the critical mass. Clem is just building up the Vikings. There's some Stalkers underneath, but there's enough bio as well. He doesn't have charge, he doesn't have storm. The Vikings are cutting back every single Phoenix. The Colossi are helping out. Force field optimistic. He took down the first set of rocks. There's another rock tower there that you can drop it down again, but Clem has a 4th base. herO's trying to hold on to his. Charge is done. Phoenix range is done for exactly 0 Phoenixes, so... Well... Not the most ideal. Vikings hit the deck. Immediately herO backs off. Disruptor on the way. But it seems like a desperation move more than anything else. A mothership? Sure. And the Vikings still. Unfortunately, he's up against Clem, making disruptors an optimistic call. The mothership at the right time could be a game changer. But it is literally the biggest unit, aptly named after your mother. So It's the most expensive, the most supply. And does it have a real chance to turn the tide against someone who already has 16 Vikings? I have my doubts. But herO has climbed greater mountains before. Alright, he's dredged filthier sewers before. He's stabbed lesser men before. What am I trying to say? I don't know. What does herO need to do? I don't know either. All I do know is until he types 2 more G's into the chat, it's not over yet. Because your mother ain't singing. SCV is being taken down. herO still knows. Well, his splash damage is the disruptors. A liberator. A Venn diagram of freedom denying the front mineral line. There's nothing here to deal with it. Tempest on the way. The mothership is spotted. Vikings looking for their opportunity. 4 disruptors. Not a single liberator. Well, okay. No liberators with the army. Active cloaking. Wait, where's the scan? Time Warp helping out. Disruptor shots through the cloak. Big hits mostly on his own zealots, though. Fires off another shot. The Vikings able to kite back. A single Colossus overhead. The mothership was taken down. And the Marines and Marauders closing in from both sides. Clem is maxed out. He's got the momentum. He's got the supply. And I think he has got the tournament. A few Tempests blinking away. The Disruptor shot desperate. herO warping in with everything he has, but what he has is not good enough. He doesn't have the economy. He doesn't have the upgrades, nor the unit composition. A few Dreamruptor shots might be able to stall Clem out for a while yet. But, it's doubtful. The Liberator again. The Tempest. The Stalkers cannot get in range. It doesn't even have range. It just sieges it up. Literally, the Tempest is taken down, and now this base can no longer be mined from. Was a bold move to take it in the first place. I think a Disruptor or a Stalker died. The main army, a recall for the dramatic end. Clem is not backing off. He's going forward. Everything is fired out. It's not enough. That's it. It's all over. He pulls it off the line. The Disruptors are obliterated. The Stalkers annihilated. The Nexus will be taken down as well. And Clem will win Pigfest 6. 5 games to 3. GG, WP, your champion. Not a rare thing for me to say, but your champion is Team Liquid's Clem. In a hard-fought roller coaster of a series, but I think a clear victory over herO. herO might have 10 years on him, but that doesn't mean he can keep up. Clem again takes home a championship. Hopefully you enjoyed, and if you did, it'd be awesome if you could check out Pig putting on another incredible tournament and support him. Link in the description to his YouTube, and I'm sure you can find him on Twitch as well. But also, if you got the means and motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free. At least for now. Thank you to those mule tier patrons for bringing in the extra minerals. Big Jig Devendor, Kate, Mario, Random Guy in Suit, and to everyone. Glad you still enjoy. If you haven't yet checked Clem and how he plays Protoss versus Terran, it'd be awesome if you could do so. I think the title of the video is The Clem Situation is Actually Crazy. I may have just spoiled it a little for you, but I'd recommend checking that out before you say Terran cannot compete with Protoss. But I say thank you for watching. I hope I made your day a little bit better, and I hope to see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Thank you for watching. Stay chill.